Welcome back to Paranormal Dash Spirits. This is a place where we come to get our booze on, talk about the booze, the things that go bump in the night, and I get to do it with all my booze. This is the second half of a two-part series where we talk about our own personal experiences in the paranormal. So without any further ado, let's get back into the podcast. I want to tell you about all the places you can find us. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can listen to the podcast just about anywhere that you go and listen to a podcast. If you're listening to the podcast, you can listen to the YouTube version if you want to, where you get to see the video and get to see what we really look like. And that's at 3B Paranormal Spirits on YouTube. We have a website, paranormal-spirits.com. We have a Facebook group, that's Booze with Benefits. We have an Instagram page. And Instagram is paranormal_dash_spirits. And the dash is spelled out on that one. And same thing for the TikTok.
The dash is not silent.
Yeah, the dash is not silent and it is spelled out. But on Twitter it's still MWBlack1966 because that's how it works there.
Elon won't let you change it.
He won't let me change it. And so I don't know why. Maybe the new CEO will be more forgiving and allow me to change my name on there. But if you go to the website at paranormal-spirits.com, you can see all the fancy swag that we have there. We have coffee cups, we have coffee mugs, we have trucker caps, we have dad caps, we have racerback tees, we have T-shirts. We have...
what is a racerback? Is that one of those like power lifter tops with the string back?
Yeah, it goes in. It kind of goes in at the top and then comes out.
Like the back looks like a sports bra. Like
that
you work out in.
Looks sexier. Yeah, so I'm like, oh my God, you know. And then I guess the craziest thing that ever happened when I was out there. So this was Unit 300. Mm-hmm. Which at that time was a Gero-psych at that time.
I think it still was at the time when they shut it down.
So it had been adolescent, it had been acute psych.
One was adolescent when I was...
As kids.
Two. Yeah.
One was two kids.
Yeah.
And then, but anyway, it had been...
Irrelevant.
Yeah, it had been Gero-psych at that time. And overflow. So if you had a patient that, didn't really fit in or we were full on the other units, they could, house them there temporarily. This woman was in 301, and as the hall goes down, it starts on the left-hand side, 301, 302 through 305. On the right-hand side of the hall coming back towards me, it would be 306, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It was the smallest unit, only had 10 rooms, 5 on each side.
So in 301, we had a patient who was restless and told the nurse that she wanted a teddy bear. And the nurse is like, well, what do you want the teddy bear for? She said, this was nighttime, getting ready for bed. And she said, well, this little boy won't stay in the bed with me. He keeps getting up and running around. So the nurse says, okay, I'll get you a teddy bear. You're not supposed to play into delusions, hallucinations, anything like that. It's like, I understand that you see it and that's what you think, but I don't see that. And that's the appropriate response so that you can help ground them in reality.
Per therapeutic communication.
But at some point,
you just give up and
say,
here's a teddy bear. Shut up and go to bed. So the nurse goes down to the adolescent unit, gets a teddy bear, comes back, gives the old lady the teddy bear. She climbs into the bed, tucks herself and the boy and the teddy bear all in the bed, right? She's happy. She goes to sleep. It's probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember exactly. I get a call from admissions, which is out in the main hallway behind us. And so I go out there to pick this patient up because we would get admissions all hours of the day. I go up there, I pick this patient up, and they're going to 300, the unit I'm on. So I take this patient back there, and we go to 307. So it's all the way down the hall from this woman on the opposite side, and one room back up. So almost to the end of the hall. I put her in there with her suitcase, and the patients couldn't have their suitcases in their rooms because they could dismantle them and make weapons out of them and all kinds of stuff.
Jesus.
So, yeah, I mean, you have no idea.
You have no idea.
So I said,
I got to see some of it during the live because I think I was over there.
I dismantled many a bra working there because you couldn't have any underwires.
I saw like a major takedown once when we were there for that software live.
Yeah, I saw a few.
Yeah.
Over a decade there. Anyway, so I drop her off in 307. I say, as soon as you unpack your suitcase, bring it up to the nurse's station, and I'll put your name on it. I'll put an ID tag on it, and I'll put it in the back for you. So I get back up to the nurse's station. I sit down, and the old lady in 301 starts raising bloody hell. I mean, hollering, screaming, comes out into the hallway. She's a fall risk anyway, so, we're freaked out. At that same time, the lady in 307 that I just dropped off in that room starts raising hell and screaming and hollering. And I go, since I took the one to 307, I said, okay, I got 307. The other nurse says, I got 301. And we go to our separate patients, right? So I get down there, and the suitcase is still on the bed, but the clothes are all over the room. It literally looks like the suitcase just threw up and clothes went everywhere. And I asked her, she's just freaked out. I said, what is going on? She is obviously terrified. I said, what is going on in here? And she said, after you walked away, this little boy ran in my room, grabbed all my clothes out of my suitcase, started throwing it around, ran into the bathroom, and disappeared. So I get back up to the nurse's station. I take the suitcase with me. I consult with the nurse who had been in 301. Okay? The nurse says the nurse from 301, I asked her, I said, what's going on? And she said, the lady in 301 said the little boy got up out of her bed and ran down the hall. And so she was running after him. So she's chasing him into the hallway. And I said, you're not going to believe this. I said, the one in 307 says this little boy ran from the hallway into her room, grabbed all her clothes, threw them around, and disappeared in the bathroom. These two patients did not know each other. They had never seen each other before. One had been admitted for several days. The other one just came in. They hadn't talked. There was no way that they could have planned, to trip the nurses out. And I'm like, that just happened. Because that truly just happened. And this went on all the time at that hospital. It was patients and staff alike. And I could go on and on and on and on and on. But that was one of the weirdest things that ever happened there. And anyway, that one, I thought it was pretty funny and pretty cool, actually. And then, of course,
there you have video from that.
I have video from that unit. It's up on YouTube. You can go to 3B Paranormal Spirits, and you can see the video where I'm videotaping down that.
Yeah, you got to sit on the nurse station. No HIPAA was violated during.
Yeah, there were no patients there.
No patients there.
And you can hear. I go into 301, and you can hear a growl at the nurse's station where I had the camera set up. It's right there, And then also over on the adolescent unit and the child unit, I was over there one night and caught a kid's voice, which that used to be hospice, and there's a lot of kids that passed away there.
Was it a little boy who likes to tear up suitcases?
I don't know. It may have been, because I'm in there and the EVP, you can hear it click. I heard this click, and I said, "Is that you? Did you make that noise?" And I said, can you make it louder? So there's a louder kind of snap sound. And I go, okay, that's louder. When I reviewed the recording later, you could hear the voice, and it is a Class A EVP. She's heard it. I don't know if I played it for you or not, but I mean, Class A EVP, and you can hear it's in a kid's voice, and he goes, "Hi there."
Oh, I've heard that.
And I mean, Class A, because it's like, no doubt, that's what it says. So, and that's not counting all the paranormal investigating and all that.
Ghost.
You did?
Yeah.
No, that's Adlin moving around, I'm sure, or the dog. Okay, but anyway,
so why? Let me ask you this. Well, so I've known you for 11 years. You haven't done any ghost hunting in a long time.
No. Why did I stop?
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to ask?
Because I keep asking, because I'm like, well, we need to go somewhere and do some very amateur, just kind of farting around ghost hunting.
Yeah. So it's a really good question. I don't really know why. I think I encountered some.
Because I noticed your digital voice recorder was sitting out.
I just happened to be going through some of my old equipment, and I found it, and I thought, oh, look at that. I want to see if it still works,
Now we carry like a whole bunch of ghosting equipment in our pockets.
Right. I think that, my whole point was I just wanted to see more and do more, catch more. And it got to the point to where, okay, I've got pictures, I've got video, I've got audio recordings, I've been touched. I've had stuff thrown at me. I've been hit with stuff.
That was all just your ex-wife.
Right. And that doesn't even count.
That wasn't even ghost. That wasn't even paranormal.
Yeah, that didn't even count the paranormal investigations. No, I think that I've turned other people onto it. People that had never seen a ghost, and didn't believe in that kind of stuff.
I mean, we have friends and former, coworkers and stuff who are total.
Oh, yeah.
Don't believe any of it.
Oh, no. Don't. But take Alyssa, for instance, and she had never seen anything, never heard anything, didn't think that it was real, I don't think. And I took her out to a place that I know was haunted. And, I mean, I
didn't disbelieve that people saw what they thought they saw and heard what they thought they heard.
Look at proper communication with a psych patient you're using.
Yes, I did. Well, I did it for a long time. No, I really did. I didn't want to say you didn't see that. But I had never encountered anything. So, and it still freaks me out. It scares me. I don't want to be. I think I've seen too many.
It's never as awesome as it is in the movies.
Yeah.
No.
Nothing's ever as impressive as Hollywood makes.
I know, but I didn't want to be. I don't like to be scared. Like, I didn't want to bring anything home with me or have something. I think I've seen enough of these, like, possession movies and such that it's like I don't want to bring that home with me and it starts, rattling things around.
So I took her to a place that, by my best estimation, it was a Civil War POW camp.
Oh, Camp Ford.
Camp Ford.
Yeah.
And by my best estimation, there's about 500 people died there. And pretty horrible deaths. Some of them disease, died from wounds, that they'd got in battle and then died later from infection and, or starved to death, some of them, because it was really bad there. And they ran about 5,000 prisoners through there, and about 500 of them died. And I've never been out there that I didn't get something.
Have you been out there since the 24-hour gas station at Whataburger across the street is open?
Yes,
up?
actually.
Yes.
So I would think the pollution of the noise and stuff
No.
from that would.
I've got cannon fire.
There's no battle there.
I caught cannon fire. Wow. I've got gunshots that not audible, but picked him up on as an EVP. All kinds of voices, out there. Full.
This was a Confederate-run POW camp for Union prisoners of war.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got EVPs where they're for instance, there was one where I said we were doing era cues, where you would talk about something that they might be able to relate to. I was a soldier. I know what it's like to march, and I'm like, man, I've marched a hole in the bottom of my boots. And anybody got a piece of leather that I can use to patch my boot? And the EVP came back that said, trade me your watch. So, I mean, that's, it's pretty cool because it's like, okay, that's not just a residual haunting. That's not a residual EVP,
That's pretty interesting because wristwatches didn't even exist.
Well, you had pocket watches,
yeah,
though.
Pocket watches.
Mm-hmm.
When we went, we did the flashlight test, where you set it on a
yeah.
stump and you say if you can
Just a little
turn
mag
it,
light, just
if you
barely
can turn it on. And it did that more than once. And that legitimately, I was like, and he's like, you gotta be quiet. And I was like, but that's freaky. Like,
so we were out there and we're just sitting and just being quiet and watching at this time. And all of a sudden I start seeing something, and I'm like, oh, I definitely saw that. And it's two legs that are just walking, not a whole body, just legs. And I can see the reaction because I'm just sitting there watching and go, okay, I'm seeing that. And I look over at her and she's like, like this, And I'm like, did you just see that? She said, I saw two legs.
I said,
it.
yeah, I think I did. And he said, I saw something too. And I was like, I'm thinking in my head, he's going to think I'm Looney Tunes because I only saw half of something. Like, like in my mind, it's got to be a full apparition if it's an apparition,
it's look like Casper,
And he said, well, what did you see? And I said, well, I only saw two legs. And you could see it. You saw it, and then it disappeared behind a tree, and then you saw it come back on the other side of the tree.
That's the kind of stuff people catch at Gettysburg too. I mean,
that's,
right. And I said,
it was in and out.
Mm-hmm. And I said, I saw two legs. He's like, me too. And I was like, it didn't have a body. And he's like above the torso, like it didn't have a torso. And he's like, yep, I just saw two legs. And I was like, oh man.
So she got initiated out there.
I haven't been out there. That was when I was a kid. And I would go spend weekends at my grandparents'. That's where my mom. There was nothing there but a turn in for like a little picnic area, and a historical marker sign at the time. But that's where it would drop off.
Yeah.
My grandpa would come in from Winona, and she could from Tyler. That was the halfway point was Camp Fort at the marker. But since then, they built they put those buildings out there.
Looks
They've
like
got
little
that
barracks that they would have
historical
had.
Barracks and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so those.
And I haven't been out since that was all put up. Right.
The little cabin they built out there, that would have been a mansion for what those guys had. Because everything that they had to build themselves.
Because they cleaned it up. I mean, this was all trees up to the little pull-off on the road for the historical marker. It was nothing but...
Yeah, they've kind of made it like they think it would have looked in some areas.
Yeah. So you think about this, and they had like one hammer and one saw for the whole camp to use, and they had to trade it off, or as they finished building their hutch or whatever, they'd have to pass it off to the next guy, and it went by rank. So these guys were out there with no kind of way to protect themselves from the elements, and it would have been pretty rough. But anyway, that
was my introduction to it. I always wonder if you quit doing it because you were so deep into it at a really volatile part of your life, and that you kind of just wanted to put that away. I sometimes wondered if it was a subconscious thing.
I think that
you put it away.
It's kind of like you do something and then you accomplish it.
Been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
I've been there, done that. It's kind of like building bobber motorcycles or customized motorcycle. Man, I built a really nice one, and did it all myself. It wasn't like I hired it all out somewhere. And so I've done that. Oh, well, I'm kind of done with that. I know that I can do it. Building watches. I don't, used to. I was building watches all the time and modding them, and it's like, okay, I learned to do that. Okay, well,
That's just what he does, though. He cycles.
But I
find something he's really
I find
into?
something that's a challenge. I succeed usually, and then after I do it, it's kind of okay. Well, I've done that, but so I'm still fascinated in the paranormal. I'm absolutely fascinated in it. I don't really want to go out and mess with it, And I think now too, especially with Adlin, I don't want to expose myself to something
attachment of a negative
that might want to hang out and come home and see my kid or something. I don't want to I don't want to take that chance. And I know that there is a chance of that.
So the next thing that for you we can do together is Bigfoot hunting, because Bigfoot's not going to follow you home. It's not going to attach.
No, he's not going to attach.
Sasquatch are not going to attach themselves to you. And it's not Harry and the Hendersons. That's only happened once.
Right. So we've been
But I think it would be fun though for you to
take him out.
Yeah, to do it. Like if we go to like one of these places that we know is pretty,
Here's
whether
what I
it be
think we
Camp
should
Ford
do.
or like Crescent or something.
I've never been.
Jefferson.
Jefferson is close enough that we could all just hop in the car and go and get a couple of rooms, and we could record a podcast there about Jefferson.
Because I've never been ghost hunting. I've never gone looking for it. It always finds me.
It's always strange to me.
Speaking of which, go ahead.
Because you talk to something that's not there. So,
But they
You feel
are
a little
there.
silly.
you do. Like I had to.
But they are there.
No, I know that. But like in all honesty,
No,
for
but-
somebody like me that's never had an experience, we're walking around. You're just talking to the air. I mean, because you cannot see it, and a lot of the
Right.
stuff that you say you catch, you don't hear it. There's things that you've heard, sure, but like some of these things you're talking about, how hi there, and things you didn't hear it until you played it back.
Okay, Basin Park.
Right. You saw it. You didn't hear
My God,
it.
I saw that.
But you didn't hear what he said.
No, not until the EVP.
So that's what I'm saying. So, but people don't, sometimes you don't realize those are all played back. Like you don't hear them in the here and now. You catch them later, which is really fun. It can be very tedious though.
It
to
is
just
extremely
play
tedious.
this,
We talked
this
about-
stuff back.
Go back
We've
and
talked
review
about that
all
before.
the audio, video.
Because it takes so long.
But you have to, and he's a thespian. He was an actor. He did all of this stuff. So it's not weird for him to be talking to somebody and for me, I'm like, I feel ridiculous right now.
I can see feeling silly.
Like if you're out there,
Standing out
touch
there.
that. Turn on the flashlight, and it's
But
like,
you know what? It's still sillier feeling than messing around with the Ouija board, because you're doing the same thing, except
I will not do that.
I've done that.
I will not do that. That's not happening.
No, you should not happen.
No, I'm not going to do that.
No,
So
But you get over it. I'm
Okay.
just saying.
So I've spilled my guts, and I've told a lot of my stories. I've got tons and tons more, but that's basically the gist of it.
Which are good ones.
Oh, there is one other that you were there, but you didn't know it happened until later.
At the house?
No, at your
The
great
hotel?
grandmother's.
The other one I was thinking about is the one in the other house.
that's just
That
ghosts.
that came attached to
There's
sister
also
friend.
the UFO.
I've seen UFOs on more than one occasion.
I don't think anyone here has seen a Bigfoot yet.
I haven't seen a Bigfoot that I know of.
Well,
I've seen Harry
but
and the
what-
Hendersons.
I've seen plenty of ghosts. I've seen ghosts of angry and UFOs.
Okay, but we've been all over mine, so now I want to hear yours, because I
Okay.
mean, of course I've heard some of them, but I want to hear it from the storytelling perspective that you have now.
I don't remember anything as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I recall, I was probably 21, and I'd gone over to a friend mine and the girl he was kind of loosely seeing,
Mm-hmm.
and she pulls out a Ouija board. She was a witch, or claimed to be a whatever, right? And she said, and we messed around with that thing, and she said there was a demon that lived in her closet that would appear, right? In retrospect, Well, no shit, there's a demon living in your closet. You're just in there playing around with the Ouija board and witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
But
Probably with mirrors that face each other.
So in case y'all hadn't figured out, we are anti Ouija board on this podcast.
probably not a good idea.
No one, I have never once seen where something good came out of playing with one.
But you know, that's a really good point, because it's like you have all these stories that start with, well, you know, everything is fine, and then we started playing with the Ouija board, and everything went to crap after that. You never hear the opposite, like you're talking about. It's like
My life went so
my
great after
God.
I played with the Ouija
I played the
board.
Ouija board and I won the lottery.
And I figured, or
I found my true love.
I figured out who it was haunting me as my old great grandma, and then we've like reconnected through the Ouija board. No,
And she gave me all the winning lottery numbers
Yeah,
across
see?
the top of the Ouija
See,
board.
She
that
showed me
nev-
where the hidden money was. Like that,
That
doesn't happen.
never happens.
So anyway,
She believed there was a demon in her closet.
yeah.
Did it even have a name?
I don't remember.
It wasn't
It was a
Pazuzu,
long
was it?
time ago.
And then you
No.
say the P word.
Well,
Shoot, but make sure the cameras stay on. You said that. Okay.
yeah, okay, we're good.
So I kind of ended up, and I'm not proud of this, but kind of she switched from that guy who was my friend to me.
So you stole her.
You went-
from her.
It was, they kind of amicably split. It was, you know, it was
He did hose before bros.
He stole her.
Hose before bros.
Hose before bros. That's exactly
he was
what that
the smarter
was.
one. He was the more intelligent one. And I sensed like a presence.
I
Smart
bet.
child.
And but anyway, I was at one point, I was with her and I saw the thing.
The demon?
It was in the bathroom actually, and she had a candles on the bathroom counter, and apparition of almost a black mist that turned into what appeared almost like a cloaked figure appeared.
So you watched
in
it
the can, I watched
essentially
it.
form.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you on any kind of hallucinogens at the time?
No.
Okay.
No. Probably
Just wanna-
just some Boone's Farm. Right?
Well, that doesn't make you
Strawberry fields.
Yeah.
seem. Yeah, tickle pink.
And it did a motion like this, and I shit you not, it cut one of those candles in half, like somebody had taken a samurai sword and went right through that candle. Like that candle went out, and he got up and went over there and looked, and it had been cut in half.
So
And the thing went away.
So you stood there at
I
the.
was
I'm
actually
assuming
laying in the bed, but if you want to get technical, but
you were laying in the bed.
yeah.
But you could see the bathroom.
Yeah, so bedroom, entrance to the bathroom right in front of it. Like you could.
So you're
closet,
looking at it
bedroom.
here.
Right?
And you see this thing,
Do that.
and it cuts the candle in half.
Cuts the candle in half, so then it goes dark in there. Then the light starts flashing in the closet. Right? It has one of those chain things, and I was like, enough.
So was the chain going?
No,
chicka?
just the light was flickering on and off. And I
Okay.
said, enough of this shit. And I walked over there and I grabbed the chain and ripped it out of the fixture, yeah.
You got greater stones than I do.
But you know, she said that she never saw it again. It never came back. And then whenever it turned on the bathroom light and stuff and saw that the candle was cut in half. Okay, so then
How freaked out were you?
pretty freaked out.
Yeah,
but
I
I had
would've
had
been.
enough Boone's Farms or whatever that I had some liquid courage.
It's amazing how it'll do that, won't it?
Yeah. And it was around those times I had interestingly enough, the sleep paralysis and the very similarly shaped thing holding me down in the bed.
So do you think it was the same thing?
It's possible because there was
Yeah.
a Ouija board involved. Didn't learn a lesson then. Had messed around with them a few times since. I mean, not in the last
Ouija
15
board?
years, at least 20,
Ouija
15,
board?
20 years. Yeah.
You played with the Ouija board.
Oh, yeah.
Did it do its thing, or?
Yeah, sure. It always
Did it
does
do
its thing.
its thing?
No, I mean, because I've heard of people trying to do it and nothing happens, and then I've heard of people doing it and it happened.
Well, we'll get to that. So,
Okay.
my friend So a few years later, or this was around kind of the same time, but I had a friend whose mother was a real estate agent, and she was handling the sale of this house. You can actually go look at it now. It's an old antebellum mansion at the corner of Rusk and Broadway here in Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, it was kind of in bad condition. The white paint was all peeled up and crackled all up in those columns.
Right.
It had the giant columns. And I'd gone in that house during the day. We'd gone to talk to his mom about something, and it was creepy in there during the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I was telling a friend of mine, this girl, I was like, oh, yeah, you got to see this place. We'll go up there, at night. And we drove up there and pulled up on the Russ Street side,
Mm-hmm.
parked right there, got out of the truck. We make it 60, 70 feet to the porch. As soon as the foot hit the porch, the lights came on in there. And the shutter on the window by the kitchen started going bang, 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 bang. And that distance I cleared in about 2 steps going back to the truck.
So you don't need brinks. You don't need any of these security systems. You just need to have your house to be haunted.
Ghost. Okay, so there was that. I have no explanation for that. I don't remember a whole lot of anything else weird until I was married. And we moved in, we bought a house, and I remember asking the agent, actually it was for sale by owner, and it was the children of the elderly couple that had owned it. So, and their mother had just passed away in hospice.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did specifically ask, because they said they were selling the house because their mother just passed away. And I said it, I didn't care.
Was
I
it here?
like, not in the house, right? And she's like, no, she was in hospice. Did not think to ask about the husband, about their dad.
Because he did.
Probably, I feel like yes, right? Mm. So fast forward a little bit, there is nothing happened in that house until, I'm just going to leave it at marital strife.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what you were describing, a lot of fighting. There was some pretty negative energy going on in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then poltergeisty stuff started happening. And the first thing happened, I come home from work, and there was a potted plant that had been on top of the refrigerator. And my ex-wife says that it flew off across the room and smashed. Now, I didn't witness this, so I cannot say that's true or not. But what I can tell you is she and I were laying in bed. So there's bedroom here that is the master. Mm-hmm. Bedroom here, which was for my stepdaughter, right? So she's in there. She would have been, this was before Mara was born, she would have been 7, I believe, at the time. So she's sleeping in here. We're in here. So the bed is centered. The door coming in is here. I'm trying to lay this out so you can have a visual.
Right.
So to my right is a door that is cracked open that goes into the hallway, and then the wall behind us is shared with my stepdaughter's bedroom. So her door is cracked too, so that way, we can hear if there's. Mm-hmm. And we are in that. We hadn't gone to sleep yet. We're not even in the hypnagogical, whatever it's called. We're not even in that, right? But we are laying there in bed, eyes closed. Dre goes, So, as loud as you can imagine. I don't want to bang on the table or anything.
Mm-hmm. It's mics. And
starting at this wall, it's like someone is going bang, 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 but banging their fists on the wall. And it starts here, and you can hear it. You can hear the Doppler effect of it, right? It's moving around. Down this wall in front, which is an outside wall. Down this wall to the left, which is an outside wall.
But this wall here, it was not an outside wall. This was internal.
This is an internal wall. This is the
external.
Internal, external, internal. So it starts here on the internal wall. Boom, 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 boom. Painting behind the wall, behind the bed, falls off the wall and goes behind the headboard. Boom, boom, boom. Door slams shut.
No. I'm out.
And we're both like, what the fuck, please tell me that you just, and we both basically said WTF the exact same time, like, oh my God. And she's like, go check on Mallory. I'm like, just dig, the guns are put away. What am I supposed to do? I literally grabbed his Swiss Army knife out of the nightstand because the guns were put away because my stepdaughter was 7, so I couldn't. It's not like today where I can just keep stuff laying around. And I go up there, and her door's cracked like it's supposed to be, and she's
sound asleep.
So I cleared the rest of the house with my little Swiss Army knife. And so, but then the next day, Mallory says that there was an old man that leaned over her bed and told her that everything's going to be all right and not to worry.
During
that same time, late at night, yeah.
Or
yeah, it's that same night. So then there were a few, and then my ex took a travel nurse job away to a different state, and I was there by myself in the house for a while, for 13 weeks. Stuff would happen. The cat would perk its ears up, and it would look back down the hall, like the way I had the couch set up where I would watch TV this way, and the hall going back to the bedrooms was back behind me. But cats would perk up and look down the hall, and then I would look myself, and I would catch shadow of movement, almost a residual kind of thing moving up, or someone who has to get up a lot during the night to use the bathroom, come in to use the bathroom and pee, and then going back down the bedroom. And I started just acknowledging it and saying, hello, hey, how you doing? And so my assumption was, this is what I believe, that the old man that comforted my stepdaughter was the man the original owner of the house, and that what I would see coming up and down the halls when I was there by myself, because nothing negative or scary other than, unless you just get scared seeing a shadow move up and down the hall.
Or the banging.
But nothing like that happened when I was there by myself.
I see.
And I would, hey, how you doing tonight? I would just say, we got along fine, right? No problems. And at some point I realized that the Ouija board was still out in the garage, attached garage storage that I had from when I was single, and totally forgotten about. I got rid of that, and there is a concurrence with me getting rid of that. I just let the trash man take it. I didn't burn it. Just let him take it with him. And
I don't think you're supposed to, are you?
I don't know, but that did that, and there was a reconciliation and a stop in the fighting and stuff, and also my daughter was conceived and stuff, so that, and then we sold the house. So get this, we sold the house to my stepdaughter's dad, to her previous husband, and I bought his house, so we bought each other's houses.
Oh, that's weird.
Did you tell him it was haunted?
Yeah, he still lives there. He still lives there. He has never seen anything, but my stepdaughter did, because she continued to live there for years, and she would see stuff, but nothing negative.
She wasn't ever scared of it necessarily? Wasn't mean or anything?
No, I don't think, no. There was nothing negative. That all stopped once the fighting stopped. So I feel like
it was feeding off of that energy.
That was not the old man. That was a poltergeist or an element, something that's drawn in by strife and negative energy. And possibly also the fact that Ouija board was still out there somewhere in the garage. But that was the most intense and most nothing weird that I've seen in the house that I live in now, although my daughter claims to have seen my grandmother sitting on my mother's bed. My mother passed away too, but I haven't seen either one of them. Right. The only wing weird that I can't explain that's happened to me have been like the John in my ear and the whistler, which we talked about, which I would hear the whistling on the other side of the garage door.
You need to tell the whistler story, because that's...
Okay. I'm going out into the garage. I don't know if I'm taking some empty cans to put them in the recycle bag or if I'm going to get some fresh Diet Cokes, but either way, it involved Diet Coke. Everything revolves around Diet Coke.
Your world revolves around Diet
does.
Coke.
I do love me some Diet Coke.
Half
too,
my
though.
bloodstream is Diet Coke.
The other half, Scotch.
No. The other half is Liquid Death sparkling water. So I'm
He
going
said that
out-
like we have a sponsorship.
So
That is the next call.
Monster.
Lagavulin. Anyway, I go out to the garage. So when you walk out from there's like a sort of a garage foyer or whatever that comes from the
Foyer?
foyer. Foyer. My Chester drawers.
Yes.
Well, it is Texas after all, you
Yeah,
know.
the-
So
So you walk out from that into the garage, right? So the equivalent of your door going in.
Yeah.
And I open that door. The garage door is like right here, 2 feet away on my right. Open the door, get a couple steps in. That may not be the tune, but it was a musical tune, and it is right there, as if someone is literally. My assumption was there was a live human standing right there. Like I thought I looked at the windows because they're kind of up high on the right. They were going to be looking back at me, but I didn't see
that
it.
would have been creepy.
Oh no.
So I'm like step
that
back
would not have
through
been
the
cool.
door. I close the door. And I
Spider-Man.
go through the back door and go around the back side of the garage into the side yard as quickly as I can. And I very quietly open that side gate so I can come around, right? And there's nobody there.
Get him.
And there's nobody down the street, and we live on top of a hill. You can see, quarter
Yeah, I
mile
can-
this way, quarter mile that way.
Yeah, I can attest. You can see a long way.
Pretty
And
good
even
ways to the left.
even the road straight ahead.
Yeah. Oh, you can see all the way down the loop that way.
Yeah.
There is no one. So I have no explanation for that. It shook me a little bit because
How long ago was that?
it's been a few years ago.
Okay.
I fully expected there to be some hooligans up to shenanigans in my driveway.
Right.
Nothing at all. That was no
Hooligans,
bird.
Shenanigans.
There was no bird.
Some ne'er-do-wells. Some use.
That wasn't a night
Some local
bird.
utes
Oh my
up
God.
to no good in the driveway. And there was nothing there.
John has broken out the 1800 thesaurus.
Yes. Utes.
Now my daughter, she won't go upstairs, which is above the garage. She won't go up there at night by herself.
Early. Why?
I don't know. She says it
Creeps her out.
creeps her out. There's something up there. I've never seen anything. I spent many a night up there. That's whenever Darren's in town. That's we kind of move into there. Never nothing. Nothing at all. I'll walk through that house all the time. Lights are off.
Never feel anything.
No. Mara says she used to see something sitting on the edge of the couch. But if she went to the kitchen, when she come back, she won't even look in. There's a mirror that faces back that way, and she won't look in it.
I don't blame her. I probably wouldn't either. I'm not.
I'm not particularly brave. I've just never sensed it, other than the whistle thing, anything in this house, because we've lived in it since it was new.
Oh, really?
Our
Y'all,
family's
you were
owned
the only
Our family
owners.
has owned that house since 1973.
And you built the house or whatever.
Yeah. It was just like this. It was new construction then.
Yeah.
So there's no reason unless there's something attached to the
So
land.
other than that, and then the John
or
in
to
your
somebody
ear.
living there, or
like my grandmother.
one of the thousand.
This is not where the shadow people happened.
No. That was in college.
But there's your dad collects particular objects.
Clocks, right?
Sure, yeah, antique clocks, yeah. I never thought about that.
That something might attach to, or that might have been their favorite clock or whatever.
Well, let me tell you this. So one time the dog, one of our dogs, well, he's passed away now, but he got loose. And I thought maybe there's still woods. There's 19 acres of woods behind the house.
That is crazy.
I know, 'cause it's in the middle of town.
That's
It's
like
in the middle of
Central
town.
Park or
It's gotta
something,
be
you know?
worth origin. I know who owns it.
Let's talk to them. We need to.
Well, no, they need to come clean up the freaking trees that are hanging over the fence line.
Oh, because
Because it hasn't. I mean, nothing has gone on there in years. I remember when back in the '80s, when there you could walk from my house, that dead end street next to my house. You could walk right into the woods. There was a trail going up there, and it's where we'd throw dirt clods at each other and all.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's jungle. Like,
Wow.
you can't even get through there. It's so overgrown. You have to go down the street 2 blocks north and cut back in. There's a trailhead there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for the dog, and this is July of 2020, if I correct. And so I go down, find the trailhead. I thought he's gone off in the woods, right? And I went through there, and I stumbled upon some weird stuff. Like, so you've seen structures, tree structures, right? That kind of stuff, but the miniaturized version. Not Bigfoot sized, but miniaturized, where trees have been put in those triangular things and twisted around and stuff. And then I find a tree house that's been made of all natural materials, all sticks and wood tied together.
Mm-hmm.
And but small. Too small for even human children to play in. And I started getting creeped out. And I'm like, Marley, you're on your own.
right.
I don't even want to touch this stuff.
Interesting.
I get serious willies from that. And I took pictures. I have pictures. I'll send you pictures.
That's strange.
I got this thing like, I think of the Fae, kind of, like the wee people.
Oh, yeah.
Or, and the Native Americans used to, they had names for that too, Mm-hmm. Just like we Irish and Scots have names for it.
Mm-hmm.
We people.
Yeah, and that's the kind of feeling I got. I got this creeped out feeling like I'm intruding in some sort of elemental small things territory that I don't need to be in. And I got the hell out of those woods.
I take it the dog came home.
Oh, he was in dog jail, turned out. He'd been picked up.
Oh, he was at the animal shelter.
Yeah. Nah, he was
He's at the dog
he got
jail.
arrested. Yeah, we had to go
Where
bail
was he
him out.
found at?
Down the street.
Somebody called?
Yeah.
That's
'cause
awful.
He was not the friendliest to strangers. So.
Oh.
And so I didn't go back there until this past November. Taryn was in town. I told her about it, sent her pictures of it. She decided she wants to see it at night.
No.
It was broad daylight when I saw it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Are you sure you wanted this? So, you know what? This was right after my mother passed. I'm like, let's do it. It's November. It's nice and cool outside. We'll go down here. And we went and looked at it at night.
Still there?
Still there.
That's strange.
Still there.
Did it look different, disturbed, changed?
It kind of panicked me because at night it's much harder to find your way back to the trail
Oh, no.
to get the hell out of there.
That's no.
Because you can't go
So
north
Blair Witchy.
because there's a creek that runs through there. So you have to get through that to get to the back parking lot of the Grove and Woodland Hills Baptist Church are kind of back up to those woods. But you can't get to them because of the creek. So it took a while to find our way back to the trail. And this is like at 10 at night. It's black.
It's Blair Witchy.
It is. I can't call that paranormal. Could have been kids built it.
Yeah.
But that's the first time my hackles have raised in a long time when I found that. In July, the hair is standing up like it's freezing cold. And I was like, there's no way I'd come at night. And then she talked me into going at night. And we survived. But
Wow.
that is weird. I'll have to show you pictures of it, and you'll see what I mean. It's like, what is going on back here? What kind of Blair Witch True Detective Season 1 shit is going on back here?
So we've kind of gone through all of and spilled our guts and opened our hearts up and told all our stories and everything. And we've got other stories too. There's lots of, I've got tons of stuff from investigations or ghost hunting, whatever you want to call it. And
UFO stuff.
we have UFO sightings that we've had. That
Recent.
We can, that we can share on
had
another.
one recently. My daughter and I both saw them.
We'll have to hit that one up on a different one.
Yeah,
Can I
I think
just say
so.
that my other one that you didn't mention, because I don't have a whole lot, okay? I don't have a whole lot.
Well, go right ahead.
And I'm fine with
I'll
not
follow.
having a whole lot. I really am. I'm fine in my little world over here.
Okay.
But there were two instances that I remember that one made me feel good and one was like, When we had sister friend living with us for a short time who was going through marital strife.
Mm.
And she came, it was supposed to be a couple weeks. It ended up being like 6. But at one point, you said, I was standing, that's when you went into our living room, there was this little like mini hallway alcove, and then it was the master.
Mm-hmm.
And I was standing in that doorway that went to the master. You were sitting in the living room.
Okay.
And you looked off and you looked back at me, and we talked about it late. You said, I'll talk to you about it later.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you had said that there was it was a man, but
No,
you thought
I saw something.
You saw something standing behind me. It was a full body of something.
Mm-hmm.
And
This is in Flint.
It was in
Yeah.
Flint. We had never felt anything here before. I'd lived
Texas,
there.
not Michigan.
Yes, lived there, 8 years this time. And it crossed back into the bedroom behind me, and you never saw it again.
Mm.
And you had sensed it before.
Yeah, but it left
When she did.
when she left.
And so he's
So
convinced
whenever-
she brought it
I think so.
with her.
Yeah, it's attached. There's something about
I think it attached to her.
domestic strife or turmoil
swear.
or people
Really
in
does.
liminal situations that draw in something.
Yeah.
It could be those same shadow people, trans-dimensional things that
And
are attracted to.
so-
Who knows? I don't
And I
know.
asked him, I said,
But you
does
know
it
that-
do you feel, because at that point, you're very in touch with that. I feel like you've had these feelings and emotions when you
Mm-hmm.
see these things. You've told me before that you felt like that was good or that was like negative versus positive. And you said you didn't feel like it was negative. You thought it was just there checking things out, that it was curious.
Mm-hmm.
And she came from a very old home, and she was coming to our house to escape the marriage that she was in. Not escape like
And-
abusive necessarily,
Right,
but was just
yeah.
getting out of the
Well-
situation.
I truly believe that for whatever reason, that for me, the veil has always been
It's thinner. Yeah, you can sense things.
So what gave you the sense that this was not? I mean,
That it wasn't
that
there
it was
to hurt.
okay?
So,
Because that's not going to be okay with me if I see something. It's great if I see my mother or my grandmother. That'd be awesome. But if I see a stranger,
because
not
it's,
necessarily going to be okay with that.
okay,
I was okay with it in that one house, but
there have been on a few occasions where I have felt something, things, whatever, and it's a feeling, and I don't know how to describe it to you anything other than that. Because I was working at
more beyond just the hackles when you sense. Because I mean, I have that too, where I can sense something.
I've seen a ghost walk past me in a hallway. I mean, literally, we met in the hallway, and I didn't even realize.
five while you're-
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even realize that. Oh, that was a ghost until it passed. I'm like, and it was already gone. But then I've had things walk up behind me or move up behind me, as the case may be, and you. So I believe that we are spiritual creatures. I think that we have a spiritual energy about us. And there's a verse in the Bible that says, and you know me, I'm not all biblical and everything, but there's a lot of good things that are written in the Bible. And there's a verse that says, your spirit bears witness with his spirit, vice versa, or something like that. How's it go? My spirit bears witness with your spirit, and by your fruits they will know you, right? So it's literally, it's kind of like, okay, so when you're sitting in a classroom, and there's somebody watching you back over here, right? And you turn, and there's somebody watching you, right?
Right.
I think that our spirits connect, touch, bump into each other, and it's just like you meet people and you know that there's something not right about you.
Like
know,
that fella at the liquor store.
like that feller at the liquor store. It's like, I don't trust you.
I wouldn't leave anything, probably anything expensive sitting there out around that.
No. So, but you know what I mean? I mean, it's just that you just automatically know. And it's the same thing when you see, sense, feel a spirit or demon or whatever. There's a feeling you get. And with that, it was just passing through. It was just checking on stuff. And that's it,
So I would get I keep saying the hackles, but you know what I'm talking about, where the hair stands up.
Yeah, I do.
I remember once going to you ever been in the Goodman House here in Tyler?
Mm-mm.
So the Goodman House is up on North Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
It's an antebellum mansion.
Yeah.
It's a museum, and you can take a tour.
Can you still tour there?
I guess.
I think so.
I mean, they used to have docents and stuff. You could go and it's a short tour.
Yeah.
But I remember walking in. So if you're standing on Broadway looking at the house, it would be the upstairs right bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of taped off. You could only go so far into it. I remember walking in there and just everything standing up. And I was like, And I stepped right back out.
I believe
10 to 4, Tuesday through Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There
And
you go.
the McClendon house also is haunted, by the way, as well.
Yeah. Which one just burned?
I have a friend whose father's girlfriend used to be one of the caretakers, and she had some key holders at the place. And she would put books out on a nightstand in one of the bedrooms, and then it would be open to certain pages, and she'd move it back, and it would be moved again the next day.
So
to the same page.
Here's what I want to do.
But
I want to, moving forward.
But I'm on one more story.
Okay, go ahead.
You got to talk for an hour and a half, and I want 10 minutes? And you're going to look at me like that?
Far be it from me.
you have raised her hackles.
Oh, my God. Would you please? Thank you.
It wasn't even mine. It was yours. But you told me about it.
Go ahead.
There was a whole thing about how mediums say that people, if there's one thing that spirits do, they always attend their own funerals.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they sense, that they, like, I think
Oh, I know what you're going.
everyone has, because I asked you about this, and you said that they've all been people that are but known to be mediums, that they go to funerals and the deceased is always there to see. Essentially, I guess they're being nosy. Who's showing up to the funeral and who's not?
I would definitely go to mine to make sure that everybody did it right, and if they didn't,
haunt some people.
It's going to be some poltergeist activity.
Which, I guess kind of makes sense. Like maybe after your funeral, you go to the light or whatever. But anyway, so we had been talking about this because when my great grandmother died, which we were blessed that my dad had a grandmother until he was 58 years old.
Wow.
And so we had 5 generations because Adeline knew her great-great-grandmother for 3 years. We have pictures with her. So she was 99 and a half when she died. And this woman, I told him, I said, if there's anybody that's going to go to the light and not hang out at her funeral, it's going to be my grandmother. Because she is sitting at the right hand of Jesus. Leave me alone.
I caught the signal. I knew what he was talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, you just do what you want. I'm sorry.
And she always said she would live to 100. And I was like, well, why not? I said, you're well on your way. You're not even, she still lived essentially on her own. Anyway, she died in September and she would have been 100 in February on Valentine's Day. So anyway, she loved the Lord very much. So I always told Mike,
loving the Lord is wrong.
She really did. She really did. And I said, she already went to see Jesus. She's not hanging out. She doesn't care. She does not care. And then we are at the hotel to go to her funeral the next day. and where we're sharing a room with there's 4 of us in a hotel room, and my parents leave, or my daughter leaves with my parents, and it's just him and I together in the room because my parents aren't believers and everything like that. Believers in the paranormal. And Mike is like, okay, so now everybody's gone, I can tell you. So my grandmother was one of these people. She was born in 1919. When she saw you, and she's a little bitty thing, when she came up to you, she'd hit you really hard on your back. Like, hey, like, how you doing? Like that kind of thing. It used to drive my dad insane because she'd hit you hard.
Oh, yeah, she'd smack you.
So Mike says, so I'm in bed last night, and I'm in the middle of sleep. I don't even know what time he said. It was in the wee hours, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and something real hard hits him right on the bottom of the foot. And I said, well, that's Mama. I'm like, who else is going to come up and hit you at the bottom of the foot the day before or the night of this woman's funeral? Then Mama herself, because she hits people that hard. Like, that's what she does. He said...
She really would. She'd walk up and just smack you when she saw you, just, bam.
Not to be mean, just a greeting.
That was her greeting.
But that, in the middle of the night, he was hit on the bottom of the foot. And it made me happy. Like, it was one of those feelings, that was like, aw. Like, she was basically like, bye. Like, this was our... Because she passed away in her sleep, so, very peaceful, but I don't know, that made me feel good. Like, that was one of those things that was like,
that is one of those feel good things.
Like, it really did. It made me feel. But other than that, I have nothing. So there's my story. Now I'm done.
I could tell you, we could spend a whole hour talking about my dad after he passed, because he hung around for a long time. But anyway, I don't have any stories, so that's all that I had to bring to the table. I just wanted to share that because it makes me happy. Yeah.
That one makes me happy.
Well, you had stories of Camp Ford where he took
I have that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have that incident,
yes.
Yeah.
But I'd never lived in a haunted house or anything like that. Thank the Lord.
I don't recommend it.
I don't want to. Let me just make that known right now.
None of those times when I was living in a haunted house did I ever say, oh, it's the best time of my life. It was a horrible time in my life.
Yeah, I don't want any part of that. And I'm not saying that I do.
I mean, the old man was like a cool roommate who just kind of leaves you alone, does his own thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing that was
there... But
he
didn't pay rent.
He didn't pay rent. But the other thing that was there, you don't want to be in that house, whatever that was.
No.
I think we need... there's a couple of things that takeaways from tonight that I want us to do. One is Jefferson.
Yes.
So that John can get the experience of sitting there all night long with I
did it in that haunted hotel in Kansas City. I sat there down in the old timey part where you're supposed to see the blue lady and all that shit.
Yeah.
And just sat there for an hour, talking to the air, asking is anyone there, and taking pictures and stuff. And I got nothing.
So we need to do that.
Nada.
Okay.
And we need to spend an episode talking about our UFO experiences.
That one I truly... Unless something happens between now and when we film it, I don't have anything to contribute.
I tell you
and
what,
I'm okay with that as well.
Now that you might just have.
There's
I
so
know.
much
I agree.
I mean, everywhere, everybody's seeing it.
I don't even consider it paranormal anymore at this point. It's just normal.
Yeah.
It's one of those
abnormal.
things that's
Abnormal, but not paranormal anymore.
Once
the government
it's not
says, it's real, we don't know
everybody
what it is.
knows it's real now. The whole world knows it's real.
Nobody can say that we are crazy
We don't know.
tinfoil hat people for...
Right. Like they did.
Like they did.
yeah.
Like they used to.
Oh, Mari used to make fun of me until a couple months ago when we walked outside and she saw it too.
Yeah.
And it creeped her out, but I was enraptured.
Let's do that. Let's talk about that.
All right.
Let's spend one on just our personal experiences. And when we do that, I've got a very special treat. So,
Okay.
surprise.
Does it involve food? Treat?
It does not.
Like food?
It does not.
Dang.
It is not served
That's
on
my
a saucer.
favorite kind of treat. I like food.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for spending your time with us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.